Hello again, welcome back to part 2 of the the Infinite Rock Builder tutorial series. We have covered this as much as need be, and now we'll look at these other bits. So the colour filter control is for these colours. So you've got colour filter 1 and colour filter 2. So if we well, let's look at colour filter 2 because that's probably the most obvious with the white. It's just a noise filter, so if we upped it to 5, you can see what it's done. I believe this one has been set to multiply screen, my apologies, so it's ignoring black completely. There is no black being displayed because its mixer is set to screen, excuse the plane. Because it's set to screen, it's ignoring black and it's only going to display the white. So if you're dragging black, you're just letting more white in, or if you bring black up, in fact, let's just get that so you can see a bit. If you're bringing black up, you're just adding more areas where the filter isn't active. So at the moment it's only active up here because of the black. If I bring it back, we start to see it. So that's color filter 1. You can do this, it's all the same for colour filter 2 as well. That's probably too much white. That's too little. So if I bring the white to match black there, and then just very small increments. If I just change the scale back to 1, there we go. And this one is using this red and this browny grey. If we put the scale down to or up to 3, we get more red and grey, but it's doing exactly the same thing. And this one is using a Mus grey, so you've got dimension, which gives it that bittiness. So that's the colours, and that's, as I say, for all of the rocks formations, apart from any formations that have their own colour, and the ones that have their own colour are only in the tangent. So when you're on object, your colour controls for it here. Moss mix it in. Nice. And you have what's this Moss 2D 3D shape, and I'll show you for why. If I bring out a UV sphere, GX, just move it on the x-axis, and then I'm just going to copy the materials, and let's give that a few subdivisions just so it at least looks like a rock. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can see the moss is nowhere to be seen on this one. It should be up here, and that's because this was, well, initially started as a 2D shape. If we slide that over, we can see now that the moss has appeared, and that's just specifically for 3D shapes. This one started as 2D and then moved to 3D a bit, so maybe that's why it kind of still works there. But if you're making a specific 3D shape, then you're going to want to bring that over to 2D, 3D. And the colours, let's get rid of that. X delete, wrong one. Let's try that again. X delete. I never have, excuse me, I never have this outline turned on in this window. I find it gets in the way. That's kind of why I have this one here. So if I need to see what I'm selecting, although it didn't make a difference then, I selected the wrong thing and still deleted it. Anyway, so the moss is here. The black is, I believe, this is also set to screen. So the black again is just, it's transparent. It's telling you where not to put the filter. And for this one, you can also use it for snow, merely by removing these or adding more. It's up to you. If you want multicolored snow, I'm just going to reduce that, and there we go. Now I've got a cold cliff. If I want, I can add more. Pip, and we'll have that a bit blue. It's barely noticeable. No, it is. There you go. So the moss, hence moss / snow. The colour filters mix. So when these two at the moment have their own individual mix, that screen, that's just set to mix. And then I think you can, I made it, I know. These two can, the way they're mixing is here. And if I go to do that, let me turn off the moss, because I think that's confusing everything. So mixed to 0, you're only getting color color filter 1. You're only getting this like that. So there's no color filter for this. Oh, look at that, terrible. I need to re-upload this and change that to color filter 2. But because we've taken the mix off, it's not visible. So when you mix it in, this is now color filter 2 is mixing over. Color filter 2 is using screen over color filter 1. So the white is being screened over the top of the red brown. You can change that mode and multiply it instead, which is then using the black, because it will only find the darker shades. So now white is transparent and black is not. So you can make them change how they interact. You can find crazy things just by mucking around with these. Subtract, I don't know what it's going to do. Color burn, anyway, play with it. But it's set to screen for defaults and also set to full mix. So that's the colors. The custom color, if you wanted to paint over the top, is this, yeah. So you need to go into edit mode, viewport shading, and then if this menu doesn't appear, you need to press the N key. And I have this in my quick menu, but I'll do it this way. Click texture paint, tool, and then here we have this. This layer texture slot is represented by this, and it's set to screen. So if I use a garish light color, you may have to unwrap. The unwrapping won't affect the shape of the rock, but it will affect how you paint and where you paint. So I'd need to unwrap this rock so that it doesn't do that. But then once I've done, important, save all images. You must do this. And then when we go back, there's the paint. So as I say, it's set to screen, so it's ignoring the fact that it's a black backdrop, and it's just producing the lighter shade. So you can add a lot more color variation to this rock if you wanted. You know, you could get real specific. Sometimes I will paint, even though you don't see it update in real time, if I want to kind of follow the rock shapes, I'll paint along the rocks here in this view, because if I show you, in fact, because say I want it to be a bit greener here in these, but to follow the shape. So I would just kind of attempt to follow the shape of the rock here. And as I say, it's not, I mean, this is something Blender may improve, I don't know. I don't even know if it's possible, but so I'm just drawing the shape of the displacement underneath, so that when I go back, now I can see the rocks are displacing here. So that's how you can be a bit more specific with your colouring. But for now, if this menu here isn't here as well, press T, and I'm just going to fill it. Press X to switch colours. I'm going to fill it with black so that we lose this hideously garish pink. Save all images. You must do that every time, otherwise it ain't going to work. You're going to come back and all your work's going to be gone. So that's the custom colour. I mean, it says here anyway, a bit of a tip thing. Roughness. This one, it's set to all over roughness because I'll show you now. So I think we should be on 2D, wetness darken. Let me just check this, because this one's about, yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is kind of a 2D shape, and this one is a wetness mix, so it darkens, you get a water level effectively. So I've just turned up the darkness to full because I want to see it when it turns up, and the wetness height. To do this, I would shift click, and then I've got to come up, and eventually I will see the water level. There she blows. There she blows. So I would line this up, or just above, if this was in an ocean or the sea, you know. And obviously that's black. It's not in lava. It could be. So I would just lighten this. So now I've got this. I don't know if it's easy to see, but wherever this black line is full reflectivity. So it's kind of, you can see it starting with this viewport shading at 32 samples. It's very reflective here, and it's not really reflective there. So wherever that line goes, the roughness will follow. And again, if we make a shape, why can't I do anything? I think my computer's what is it going crazy? Right, Shift A, mesh, icosphere. Oh blimey, let's move it forwards. I mean, we don't really need to. I can just copy the materials, and then well, you can see straight away it's wrong. That is so wrong. Let me just put a subdiv just so it's a bit clearer. Full. So it's saying the waterline is here on the bottom of this sphere, and it's not anywhere else. So that is, you'd have to rotate it to get the wet. Oh, actually, you can really see it now. Unless you go 3D shape, and now it's at the bottom, and then you'd use these controls instead of the 2D. You use the 3D. So I'm going to bring that up, see if we can. And there's the water level. So you can really see now that it's. Oh, can you? I don't know. Yeah, I assure you, this is full reflectivity. So it's very shiny. You can see the specular here, and that is not. So that's your level. If you're going to put your cliff in the water, then that is what you would use. And if you don't want that level at all, and you can't remove it by lowering the height, so if I wanted this gone from the 3D one, I could just lower the height completely and it's gone. But to save that, let me bring it back up. You can just slide this one all over roughness mix. Clunk. Right. Confused myself. It's not a slider nick. And then that negates. This is just the roughness all over. So if it was black, it'd be full reflectivity all over. So that just, as I say, negates the need to have to rotate anything. Just switch it over to 3D shape if it's not working with you. If it's in 2D mode, and then that should fix it nicely. Alright, nearly done. You got your principal BSDF here if you want it. Don't know why. I don't ever. In any rock formation I've made, I've never used this. But it's there if you want to use it, I suppose. What's your bump? Yep, bump. I wouldn't bother messing around with that. Dust fresnel is... Let me delete this. I've done it again. I say, yeah, I've got this window up here, so I don't select the wrong thing and delete it. Doesn't stop me doing that, does it? Alright. So my keyboard's on my lap. So let me just sort this roughness out. All over roughness, please. Okay, so dust fresnel. I've already got a bit of dust, but if we take it out, it'll be very clear. It just looks, it's fine. It just looks a bit clean. And then if you bump up the dust mix, it just adds dark dust in any creases using ambient occlusion data. All the way up it's really dark, but you can see the very strong difference between that and that. So that's what your dust is for. You can change the colour if you want, but dust seems to work as black for me. Fresnel, we can see everything has Fresnel, even rocks. Let me make that a bit smoother, because it's a bit janky. So this little highlight on the edges here, around the edges, that's your Fresnel. And if you mix it all the way, it's really prominent. It's not quite wet, but it's, you know, it's clearly not at that rough a surface. So you don't want to mix too much in. But if you did, you could, if you take the roughness down, it disappears apparently. I guess it's just because it's so reflective that you can't really see it anymore. Full roughness, you get that, but I kind of find a happy medium down about here somewhere. I like a bit of Fresnel. Gives a bit of character, you see, a little bit of character. And then ambient dust strength, that's for this. So if the dust is really dark, we can probably reduce that. You can see it happening. I can put more black to make it even darker, but I don't want to do that. That's why it's there. So you got an extra bit of control with your ambient dust strength thing there. That's it. That's the herb done. This, if you ever do Control Shift click with Node Wrangler enabled, you shouldn't need to ever. and plus there's not a great deal to look at. But if you do that, Control Shift click the reconnect here pip, because that is the end of the chain going straight into your material output node. Sweet, that's it. That's the herb done. So get cracking, have a ton of fun with it, mix as many as you want, and you'll make cliffs that likely nobody else is ever going to make, and that I certainly have never made. Yeah, we're done. Have fun with it. Nice one. Until next time. Farewell.